And dear colleagues, we are starting our next session. It's about environment, no, sorry, not environmental, but social issues and public health. And my pleasure to introduce our today moderator of our section. It's Dr. Maria Galaburda. I would try to say the university, the National University of Bioresources and
of Life and Environmental Science of Ukraine.
It's mistake in the program.
Yeah, of Life and Environmental Science of Ukraine. This is the official English name of our university. And I suppose everybody knows this university, and it is a great pleasure for me to take part in this event and also to moderate the section on social inclusion and public health. I will have to start, yes, with my own report first, and I will try to share it. Today my report is dedicated to challenges and opportunities of integration One Health competences for sustainable veterinary education in Ukraine, because this is the one of the main topic of our project we run in the University of Life and Environmental Science of Ukraine. We have small module, integration EU One Health framework and policies in Ukraine, and trying to improve or implement One Health approach into veterinary education. And I need to emphasize that our project was happened to be very timely. It was launched in February of 2022, and in October the One Health joint plan of action was launched by the body-partite meeting or body-partite organization, which include the Food and Agriculture Organization of United Nations, FAO, the United Nations Environmental Program, the World Health Organization, and the World Organization for Animal Health, which was founded as OIE. And
sorry, can you turn on the full-scale demonstration or just increase the scale? No.
I just turned on the full. Yes, I will. I will try to change it. Yes. And this plan was announced in October, and it aims to create a world better able to prevent, predict, detect, and respond to health threats, and improve the health of human, animals, plants, and the environment while contributing to sustainable development. This is the purpose of the One Health approach and this plan of action, which has 5 pillars, and it was performed in October. It is necessary also to emphasize that in 2020, the One Health approach happened to sound in new understanding, I would say, because when before One Health was performed mainly as the problem of antimicrobial resistance, but the COVID disease, the COVID outbreak, it emphasized that the interaction between human health, animal health, and environment is really important, and in order to succeed in coping of future challenges of emerging disease, we need to communicate and collaborate with society, not only, and also with other with interested parties, and this One Health approach, it meets some societal challenges, animal health challenges, and environmental challenges. It is also necessary to note that it was indicated that in the future, because we have the change in the global warming problem, the new disease will emerge, and the pathogen spillover will change. The changing of animal migratory pattern also takes place and should be considered when solving future challenges. Poorly regulated wild meat and wildlife trade is another problem, and increasingly complex food system trade, poorly regulated live animal and bird transport market, wildlife population which declines, and also the approaching of a wildlife population to the inhabited places also have some challenges. Illegal and unregulated trade in animal medicines, including also substandard products, and inappropriate use of antimicrobials, pesticides, and insecticides are considered to be future challenges of One Health, and we should, the future veterinarian, those who we study today, need to know about this. And also the quadripatid indicated, or they indicated three best ways how to collaborate and how to develop a One Health approach and how to change the world for better. And the development of One Health curricula for different cadres of One Health workforce and educational materials for all age groups also are quite important. This is the separate pathway which I think we should consider and always and be timely in this direction. And that's why our proposal was selected in the call, which was in 2021, and the project started in February 2022. So we have a lot of challenges when started this project because of the wartime. And our project is implemented by multidisciplinary team from National University of Life and Environmental Science. We collaborate not within one department, but within several departments at our faculty. And also we collaborate with State Serum Institute. And actually this project was inspired by the big European joint program, One Health. They have online meeting in 2020, annual scientific meeting, and it was a new point of view on the common or known problem, but now Europe finds the way how to compete future challenges and no challenges with the collaboration between different sectors, the medical, veterinary, and now it is top problem how to involve environmental scientists and educators in the field, because it is one of the gap. And when we talk about quality of education, we follow standards. So we have our national standards. We also should follow European demands, and there is a European system of evaluation of veterinary training, and they also describe the day one competences, and there is international standards. The World Organization for Animal Health, they assess veterinary services, and veterinary education is a part of which is assessed within veterinary services. So they also have certain international demands to the qualification of the veterinarian, which every country should support and achieve. And we also should take into account the sustainability of our programs when we develop it, because One Health approach also implemented in different spheres to which a veterinarian are close. And only when we share, partner, and support each other, we can succeed. Here I just put a quote from 1999, and it was published in May of 1999, but it states that our traditional approaches and past requisite skills and levels of knowledge may not be commensurate with the rapid changes and new demands of food animal industries and shifting requirements needed for the corporate and public opportunities in the future. These include public health, biomedical research, and the global food system. And education also should take into account the One Health approach. And when we still do some research, and we decided to check the articles, open source articles, scientific source. What was the question, what is the relationship between One Health competences and sustainable developmental goals? And we did 3 searches, general for One Health competences, the search which included these competences in veterinary field and in public health field. because it is really close to veterinary education and veterinarian. They are also those who assure the public health through the animal health. And you can see that there are some goals which are not currently covered in researchers and published and open researchers. And somehow they, for example, the 17th goal, partnership for the goals, is really weak for veterinary field, as well as reduced inequalities, and also there is a lack of researchers dedicated to clean water and sanitation. Also, it also play important role, and veterinarians should be aware how to prevent environmental contamination. Also, when we analyzed key competencies related to One Health, which may be relevant for veterinarian, this is first of all understanding of zoonotic disease, and this is obvious. The second one, which is important and also is not sufficient, this is possibility to interact with other disciplines, interdisciplinary collaboration, and this is possible only if we study students not only targeted for to heal small animals, dogs and cats. Yes, environmental health and conservation is also important topic, and we have a specialty within veterinarian field of education, which include some topics on environment, but we do not cover conservation approaches, how to preserve nature, especially wild species. The epidemiology and public health also is not covered really in our programs, because if you ask any graduate, he won't be able to assess risk, epidemiological risk, to do some calculation. The epidemiology, it also should include statistical methodology and approaches. Food safety and food security is a topic, but it is not really popular among current veterinary students. They often consider it not relevant to veterinary education, to veterinary profession. Communication and advocacy, how to spread information about disease, prevention of disease, ethical consideration, global health perspective. This is the also what distinguishes the higher education from paramedical education. And this world cloud, it is developed from the pool which we conducted during our first introductory conference on One Health social dimension within our project. And you see that although students do not consider some topic, but our participant, they indicated that collaboration, safety of food, environment is really important within One Health approach. We also within project we had autumn school and conducted SWOT-like analysis based on the pool in order to indicate from our participants the strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats of integration One Health approach in Ukraine and in veterinary education system. And our participant stated that the possible strength part of this approach is integration into European Union One Health system, integrated healthcare system in terms of institutional innovation, interdisciplinary research, and international cooperation and creation of new projects. The weakness which our participant considered are possible. This is the lack of training system platform in Ukraine. Also, we have a lot of interdisciplinary barriers, and there is always some competition between medical and veterinary field, and a low level of communication. As opportunities, we consider cooperation of specialists of different profiles, deeper analysis of processes and statistical approaches, and educating a new generation capable to solve issues of One Health. And with the threats, possible threats, this is funding deficiencies, the resistance of system as well as education system and the system of medical service. And also our participants indicated that populism without effective implementation steps is another threat within our country. And this is the picture from the Conference of World Organization of Animal Health, which indicates that we should also consider the new technologies when educating veterinarian, and the 3R principle, reduce, replace, refine, is quite important. And you can see that One Health, teaching One Health of veterinarian is the separate topic which was also defined during the conference dedicated to veterinary education. I also would like to share our
Masha, sorry, don't demonstrate us a bad example for a schedule. Almost 20 minutes, yeah.
Okay, and so we tried different approaches and involved also students from the IT department. We provided them with the theoretical background, and they developed tools, for example, chatbot to disseminate information, different issues which are relevant to One Health. So yes, I finished with my presentation, and I'm ready for question.
Okay, thank you. One maybe brief question. Masha, am I correct? I guess it great this approach of One Health and most challenges we have in human clinical medicine to introduction or no?
After our joint conference we conducted, I assumed that they have we veterinarian and medical practitioner, we have different understanding of One Health. When they talk about One Health, they consider some other topic, not antimicrobial resistance, which is the common problem, not zoonosis, which are our common problem, but they consider, for example, a not transmissible disease, and they also consider it as One Health problem. Mental health, how it is connected with the health of human. So this is some differences in understanding of the approach.
Okay, thank you.
So if there is no other question, I would like to perform next presenter, Olena Ivanova from State University of Trade and Economics, Kyiv Medical University, dedicated to analysis of gaps in demand and provision of psychological assistance of the military.
Hello, dear colleagues. And thank you for presenting. I'm trying to share the screen. Let me know if you see it.
Yes, we see.
Okay, good. So thank you for presenting. My name is Olena Ivanova. I want to highlight today the topic considering analysis of gaps of in demand and provision of psychological assistance of the military. The topic is very important for all of us, and especially for this target audience of my research. The war conflict in our country, in Ukraine, has drawn considerable attention to the mental health problem, including the probability of occurrence of consequences of mental health issues. The circumstances of service and the conditions of military personnel in the areas of active hostilities have significant impact on the deterioration of their mental health. I will go through this content, and I will start with the first question about the gap in provision of psychological assistance. Importance of the actual and important character of psychological support of the military population is primarily ensured and organized by the moral and psychological support structures of the armed forces of Ukraine, including psychologists who are locally deployed to the temporary location as assigned by the military units, as well as other actors, other providers who will be characterized also by step to show that we have some kind of issues and problems there. The methodological support of the work of military psychologists in the deployment places includes both behavioral guidelines for the psychologists and recommendation for the first psychological aid, psychological and physical exercises, control of stressful experiences, and other social recommendations for to correct the state, the condition, and to reduce the stress of the military. However, the circumstances and stressors of the current war after the full invasion differ from the conditions of the approval of some methodological guidelines that were issued since 2016. The function of the military psychologist to initiate a conversation or to be available is not sufficient, is not enough. absent of distinct complaints or anticipation of the military service, of people coming forward to discuss their problems, to share their experience with the specialists, if there are any of the places of deployment, may be implicit or can demonstrate the zero demand for psychological counseling. When the military do not express complaints or seek out psychological counseling, it doesn't necessarily mean that they do not have the emotions or experience to share. Therefore, it is important to proactively offer psychological support too, even if they do not appear to be seeking it out. And therefore, I break some of the military service pathway, including that there can be potential and subsequently actual demand for psychological assistance on these stages that can be made by the suppliers or providers of this psychological assistance on different stages. So we start from the psychological professional and psychological selection, which is go from the first stages. And during this stage, nervous and mental peculiarities or complaints of citizens, which are called up for the military service, may be revealed. Psychological diagnostic can be conducted. Psychological training of personnel includes psychological education and psychotraining. This initial stage of psychological support on these stages do not aim to generate demand for psychological assistance. It's just the stage where they identify the physical and psychological readiness to perform combat tasks. However, under the influence of stress factors during and after the completion of a combat mission, potential or actual demand of the mental health care services becomes more pronounced. Psychological education and training are conducted during combat training in the circumstances modeling real combat tasks. So it's not the clear preparation, not the clear training. During the execution of real tasks in the command zone, it is written that a psychological assistance is conducted by the psychologist in the form of monitoring, diagnosis, correction, and reporting to a commander. In fact, very often psychological tests are conducted by the commanders, by the leaders of military divisions, and there is the lack of military psychologists on the areas of service. Some methodologies for the military psychologist for them reduce stress and to overcome insomnia, but it is rely on some methodologies which were developed by the Russian specialist, which is I think it should be updated according to the our partners' methodologies and the experience of our partners, and also our own experience, because we also have it. Then at this separate variable stage of the military pathway outside the outside methodological guidelines of the psychologist, I would also mention the medical rehabilitation. If a military person is hospitalized for further medical care, is not compulsory for everyone, but when it's happened, then it can be the next stage of psychological assistance. These may shape direct mental health care provision due to physical availability of such a patient, of such a military person as a patient, identification of neuropsychological problems, diagnosis, and further rehabilitation by professional specialists. However, researchers and practitioners find some shortcomings during common clinical treatment. For example, the need to strengthen the neuropsychological approach due to contusion and other invisible brain journeys. Insufficient implementation of patient-centered approach, in particular, lack of awareness of military patients of their health status. So they should know about themselves. This information should be silent, and so that is why this information is insufficient and not delivered directly to the patient in a lot of cases. And of course, the military person expects for the support, emotional support from the doctors. Also, I would mention that it is important to know that introduction of patient-centered model of medical care has been identified by the World Health Organization as a priority area for the development of modern medicine. Also, I would mention here that depressive anxiety and other syndromes of mental health disorder were not detected and not included in the individual clinical diagnosis during the main medical help or main course of treatment. It's not the common trend, but sometimes these cases are happening. Psychological support is very often provided not officially, and of course is not paid voluntarily by volunteers in casual, non-professional level, without prior clinical professional experience or professional education, and also by the new psychologists or psychologists who are new in their profession, without some significant or without zero combat experience. And sometimes in this case, the military people try to avoid the civilian psychologists because they don't see that they can understand their problems, or they can help to face these problems or to solve the problem connected with the mental health care. This support helps to reduce combat stress and alleviate psychological strain in the absence of military psychologists in the field on the spot of combat actions. However, such initiatives have no payment options, no security guarantees, which significantly limits the professional mental health care supply. According to the expert opinion, there's experience gap between the well-experienced professional psychologists and young generation and new specialists without significant necessary experience, especially of working with war trauma and in dangerous conditions. Moreover, psychologists working with the military unit in deployment may be asked to develop basic military skills to fight, to have the demand to physical standards, and this may create some age, physical, also some financial barriers to hire experienced psychologists to help to deal with the trauma risk and diseases. Other psychological help in composition of social services come from the experiment project of social recoveries. Now it's very active phase of it, where the psychologist was included as the guiding, or as a mentor, as a guide, who tried to help to war veterans with their mental health issues. And also such a project may include also social worker, especially it is widespread in rural areas due to the lack of staff. Also, it is the project which include the war veterans, which is more promising because he or she has already their combat experience. In this case, I can make the examples of some veteran spaces, hubs, or crisis centers. Also, the local authorities and communities tend to invest in the development of already existing services with a factual demand, not in the prospectively demanded services. The findings of sociological research of communities where the military and war veterans should be provided with the social services show that there were some cases of suicides committed by the military and war veterans, but at the same time, the community people believe that these cases could be prevented if these individuals had received psychological assistance in timely. The problem is worse in rural areas where the infrastructure of psychological assistance is not so widespread, or even there is no such centers or no such project is developed. So therefore we have the gap like connected with the geography of widespread in this project. Another potential source of psychological help supply could be so-called self-help groups, which can be guided also by war veterans, which is also successful, but they are not very numerous. So just have a few examples of it. But at the same time, they are very well organized, and they try to follow the peer-to-peer principle, which I know is widespread in the US veterans. So they try to follow to this trend, to these principles. Next, providers are also the hotlines. The central provision with the information about psychological health providers increases the frequency of visits, which is also desirable in this stage of development of mental health care actualization in Ukraine. The list of the most popular and officially verified contacts and hotlines for psychological help are provided in the official website of all Ukrainian mental health program. How are you? It is wide known. It was initiated by the First Lady of Ukraine to establish an inclusive psychological assistance system, fostering an inhabitable commitment to mental well-being among Ukrainians. But at the same time, it is open for everyone disregarding the status and war status. There is a range of other hotlines for the military. Through the establishment of high-quality services and convenient pathways, it is imperative to recalibrate low statistics of visits and cultivate a culture that prioritizes mental health care. However, the dominant part of these contacts provide services for short term, or for general population, including expats in other countries. Specific nature of combat-related psychological trauma, possible acute stress disorder, EDSD symptoms, and other context-reasonable obstacles should be addressed in another way and by specialists gaining trust. The specificity of the military as a target audience for psychological assistance and mental health care services, which may influence on the provision and demand of psychological assistance, widening include but not limited to the following: the confidential character of the military deployment and length of stay, because they stay for not just like a few months but longer, for years. Also convertments in expressing feelings, fierce expressions, constant sense of fear of health and life, acquired or developed sense of distrust or suspicious of familiar people, including civil specialists. So that is why it can be one of the reasons why they trust more to the military psychologists. Stigmatization of seeking psychological help and implicit demand for psychological assistance, which is also a widespread reason for civil population as well for the military, because they out of civil population in our case. Possible war-related trauma before the start of full-scale invasion, but this is in case of the war veterans, because not all of them like passed their stage or had decreased the symptoms action of PTSD, or maybe they were not diagnosed. Even in that case, it's even worse. Influence of mental health habits of military family members, because when they communicate with their family members, they also think about their problems, their issues, and this anxiety, this kind of mental health issue can be repeated in their own personal life and reflected on their professional activity. The survey, I'll follow to the next step of my research. The survey of the general population has shown that Ukrainians altogether, including military population, have neither a prior history nor shaped culture of wide practice of psychological assistance. According to the sociological research survey. It was conducted in 2022 as well as 2024. Among the respondents, 91% had not visited a psychologist as well as psychotherapists, including those who did not know how to answer this question definitely. Potential demand for visiting in case of a problem appearance gave more encouraging forecast, up to 7%. Potentially 34% admitted they did not rule out seeing a doctor despite the prior absence of such visits. The survey conducted in the first half of 2024 revealed a significant disparity between individuals who recognized the need for professional help and those who sought it. For 40% and 8% respectively. The explicit, directly expressed demand for psychological assistance is higher than the factual number of requests for visits. This creates the 32% of gap between the actual and potential demand in the semi-annual period, explained by the barriers to seeking psychological help. The same survey showed 37%, which was in 2022. So 5% has decreased. It means that people try to invite try to visit the psychologist more often. And also the potential demand growth could reduce the gap. If people would define need and intention to visit a psychologist, this gap would be reduced from 32% to 4%. In 2022, potential gap was not 4%, but 10%. So the situation is a little bit better. Since that stress of the military population correlates with the depression, aggressiveness, irritation, hostility, and guilt, the formation and stimulation of explicit demand, that they have to show their desire to visit such psychologists or try to initiate such visits for mental health services is necessarily. Between 60% and 80% of soldiers who witnesses the death of their colleagues, civilians, or corps were found to have symptoms of acute trauma. Younger soldiers aged 18 from 18 to 24 who have symptoms of depression or alcohol abuse problems are at particularly high risk of mental health symptoms. According to the survey results conducted by sociological non-governmental organization Gradus by among the wounded military population and veterans, the total number was over 400 of respondents who have applied for service being in the rear. Psychological assistance was listed among their top 5 current needs. So you see that they are neighbors between financial support and social benefits. So they still in the top five of the current needs. At the same time,
Olena, I'm sorry, I need to remember about timeline.
Okay, I will finish in few slides. I will move directly to this slide, and then I will finish. I also identified the specific features of psychological assistance that is shown here on the slides, like the stigma for male military, also the low interest of military unit commanders, insufficient level of on-site psychological assistance, also low supply, relatively low level of trust to civilian, as already told, and identify probable brain injuries. Their proposed solutions for bridging these gaps is also following the all-Ukrainian program of mental health support, training on psychological staff, and also involvement of those who have the experience to deal with military population. to follow the international experience exchange in war-related trauma diagnosis and treatment, and use of telemedicine and mobile technologies. And the last point is I conducted the survey among the military veterans. They also identify the importance to use some kind of mobile fast technologies to trace, to put on the tracking their mental health. So among them, they express the interest to be on the contact with the psychologist. So in this case, they also can put the tracking of their expressions, feelings, some signs, and different scales of the symptoms of mental health issues could be put in the digital platform to provide these services for our military. So this is my conclusions. Shortly, I identified the challenges in both way in addressing the provision of psychological assistance for the military population, as well as the gap between potential and factual demand on it, as well as provision of some helpful tools that I see can be the perspective in this case. That's all from my side. Thank you for your attention, and if you have any questions.
Thank you, Olena. This is really a very important topic for our society. And do you know how civilians are trained to communicate with those who suffered from this? Yeah.
Thank you for your question. It's very important and interesting. In this case, some of the several initiatives, including social project, to prepare to prepare for trainings like medical trainings. They also have their psychological trainings for civilian people, how to communicate with the military, especially with those who mostly affected in combat actions. So they try to the war veterans or those participants who spend their time to study, to give their advice how to communicate with the military and not to offend, and not to to be more positive in their questions or to find some in commons. So the civilian population usually may pass some courses or some webinars. I know that both veteran war psychologists, veteran psychologists, and also civil psychologists try to develop such trainings, webinars to teach how people can talk with such people, with the military, not to offend their feelings or try to be more polite.
We have such programs, yes. And yeah, because it can be a real problem in future, and it can also separate the society, Ukrainian society. Thank you.
If I may, very short question, Olena. Again, I support it's really important. Do you have some numbers? How many properly trained psychologists we have, and how much more do we need?
Civil psychologists or military?
No, for military issues.
Fortunately, I'm also interested in these statistics. I don't have it now, but from the empirical surveys, interviews, I've heard a lot about the lack of military psychologists.
No, it's understandable that that's a problem. Do you know the scales? No.
I don't know right now.
Okay.
So I suppose we will have to change and perform next presenter with the topic of European policies against adulteration of products on the way to sustainable development. And there is a team of researchers, and the performer will be Zhana Klitschova. Klitschova, I invite you. The floor is yours, and you may share your presentation.
I cannot see Zhana right now with us.
Yeah, and
Just recently.
as well.
Recently.
Yeah, and
was-
Sergei Kirilenko was here. Maybe there is some electricity cut off
I
in
don't know.
that
Okay,
region.
maybe let's move on, and maybe they will return. Okay.
Okay, then I will have to. I can see Olga Kirilenko. Yes. Olga, I would like to invite you with your report and presentation. Olga.
It seems we have a lack of speakers.
Hello.
Okay, just
Hello, people.
Olga. Oh,
Yeah, I'm
okay.
here, but yeah.
Yeah, I would like to invite you for your presentation, because the presenter on the adulteration topic cannot report now. So I perform Olga Kirilenko with the presentation of improving the medical field and medical education in the context of sustainable development, Kyiv Medical University.
Okay, wait a moment. So, okay. Okay. Sorry, I didn't. Do you see my screen? Do you see? Open. So, do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
The full screen.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to present you this. I'm from Kyiv Medical University. Accordingly, and me. Because I'm sorry, I was not ready, because I was thinking that fully ready, because I was thinking that some more speakers still before me. So I didn't close even some of this material. So I would like to talk about the role of medicine and role in sustainable development and in other and medical education, and what we need to improve, because let's go for next slide. Maybe it will be more clear that because of health of people and life of people, quality of life, it's, if we just analyze historically, that always it was very important for the development of other section of economy. So starting even from, you know, long time ago, and if we analyze how it was like our economy in general and different sections of economy developed and our industry, then it was always following for the when people were able to improve their health and their life expectancy, simply because they had time to collect knowledge. You know, each stage of human development, we develop, we collect some knowledge, we develop some technology. And if we compare even 20 years ago and now, then we need much more time to, like, you know, to study before. And even now, people very often to get enough knowledge to work in this or another field in IT, especially in some advanced field, it takes so much time, even 20 years, 30 years, and now people already like only get education before like 30, 40 years, and already start to develop very significant diseases and not very it means that people have not enough time even to realize. And what if we again analyze our history, then we can see that when we were able, medical field was able to develop such measures which prevent and diseases and compensate diseases, useful for the treatment, then it was very like very big improvement of very great improvement of human health and life expectancy. So, for example, the measures which were developed in 19th century, beginning of 20th century, disinfection, water chlorination, vaccination, and hand washing, by the way, antibiotics. This was very simple, like it was measures which we were able to implicate why it was working. So after that, so before many centuries, our life expectancy and health in general was very slow, like improving, and then it was a very rapid improvement, and life expectancy just jumped to the 70 years because it was possible. It was such measures which was possible to implicate globally. So now but now we that time, by that measures, we were able to take under control infectious diseases, epidemics. Before you know, everybody knows how many and how big epidemics it was, we were able to take. Now we have we still use these measures and it works very well, but now we have other types of diseases, systemic diseases, chronic diseases from which many people, and it's affected already millions of people, so much, and we need. And now, as you know, I should not tell you, we like it was announced these goals for sustainable developments. It's not of our economy in general. It's not surprise that this goal of one of the first goals is good health and well-being and the covering of whole human population with medical services. So, meaning even this illustrates us that it's very important for other sectors of economic to improve human health and to provide quality service for whole human population in our planet. So, and therefore, why it is very important that accordingly this health expenditure, so the financing of health is very high, and it's very high already, and increasing dramatically. You can see here in 2021 in comparison to the 2000, for example, yeah, and also medication, so many medicines, so drugs developed, and it costs so much. So, and what we have, let's see now current situation. So we invested even already during this period when the goals were agreed. our goals. So we are now like working to doing this, like performing just in the way. So what we have now, so it was already after it was the goals, it was like signed, agreed by the all nation in 2019. It was proposed in 2015, then agreed in 2019. Now we have 2024. What we have, whether we just were able, so our financing, our like of medicine, it was like increased and increased and increasing and increasing. But what we have is diseases. So we have now, you can see even this small, like my material, you can see that chronic systemic diseases there, and this is not amount of number of people affected. This is deaths from these diseases. You know, it's people die and they grow. Here you can see 2000 and 2019, like 19. It grow. Most of them they still grow. So we were not able even to stop them. So many prevalent diseases. So such which sometimes quarter of population affected, sometimes with this latent herpes viruses, almost all population infected. So we have infections. So in some infections, all people were infected. So, and before we were saying, so latent, it does mean they're silent, they're harmful, and then some of them, for example, this latent herpes viruses, they are very significantly. In fact, this is the reason why we are getting aging and age-associated diseases. They deplete our immune system, and finally, our immune system in some like decades, it doesn't work already, and that so means that we need to target such significant and also emerging, pre-emerging diseases. You can see how many we have. So as I have so little time, I can't tell. Only I shortly show you because it was about deaths, how much, to just imagine how many people affected. So there was like 6-8 millions already, so much, but that deaths, but how many people, for example, diabetes, it's pandemic still now, pandemic, kind of state of pandemic, how many people, and here it's like, you know, it's prediction 2040, 2040, it will be even sometimes twice more in some 10-20 years. So yeah, also tuberculosis, not so many people develop tuberculosis, but infection, quarter of population infected with mycobacteria, hepatitis. Many people getting just recovering from acute diseases, they still have the virus in their body, and it's millions and millions, just so many people. So that's why we need to think how to think whether we at all able to, like, you know, to quickly because our goals they planned for 2030, so we have not so much time. Whether we really able to somehow at least to take under control of the disease and to stop them their growing. So let us analyze what we need and what we need to do finally to do this, to stop, to improve the situation with our health, because otherwise we will not be able to develop any of sector of economy. We really like now studying, educating till like 30-40 years, then we are getting already, we are in such condition that we are not very good in good conditions to work. So what factors, what we need to, so it is clear that to quickly improve situation in medical field with human health and diseases and to increase the finally life expectancy, we need to propose measures which can be as before implicated globally, very simple, not very expensive, and globally. And what we have something for this? Where we need to look for such measures? So for that, we need to analyze very carefully what the causes for these diseases. And if we analyze the causes, that we can find that many diseases nowadays, medical system target already symptoms, not primary causes. Yeah, for example, let's talk about the cardiovascular diseases. Yeah, then like first about the causes. We have such causes in our environment. For example, air pollution, which which are very global. So many people affected, and they cause such very significant conditions. They impair our functioning of our circulatory system, or our blood system, our transport, our delivery of oxygen. So, and then that's why. Yeah, and this condition, if we analyze then, and publications, for example, already published studies, and we can find that they're implicated, in fact, these conditions, the carboxyl. So we have not enough functional, for example, hemoglobin because of our you can see global pollution, nitrogen oxide, carbon oxide, it's our global. So it's a great, like global our factor for our health. And it's such dramatically affect our health. They block our hemoglobin, which can't anymore carry oxygen. But you know, if we have not enough oxygen, our tissues and all organs affected, and all diseases, in fact, systemic, and we develop. Also in emerging diseases, it is implicated. You can see here publication. This mishemoglobin, carboxyhemoglobin was studied. It was found that people who died from coronavirus disease, it was also, and even this publication suggests that it was not considered. It still will not consider such. So we were applying, you can see here, this applying oxygen for this coronavirus patient, but we were not before. So it's for nothing to apply oxygen if our hemoglobin blocked. You know, we need first to recover normal hemoglobin, and it was not considered even now during coronavirus. So, but this is with this nitrogen oxide, carbon oxide, our main pollutant of our environment. It's even more complex story, because we have our nitrogen oxide, and also carbon oxide, by the way. This is our physiological molecule, also important physiological molecule of our body. So meaning that this our pollution interfere with our physiological pathways, you know, and then this, in addition that these gases, they block our hemoglobin, they inhibit our intrinsic. So it's logical, you know, if we get something too much, that we need to stop to, like, our body compensate this by the own production. So then these factors, they inhibit our nitric oxide synthase enzyme, which produce our nitric oxide for the functioning. But we inhale this, for example, in the lung, and in this area it's too much. But nitric oxide synthase inhibited in whole our body. So for some functioning, for some organ, it's not enough. For example, for neurotransmission and also vasodilation. It's a very important nitric oxide. It's very important. It regulates the size of our vessels. And you know, if size of vessels not regulated, they're constricted. It causes atherosclerosis. Everything will be like stuck there, aggregates, and so on. This atherosclerosis. If our vessels too dilated, they are bleeding. It's another problem. Yeah, so it should be regulated. And then and then we have such a factor which we immediately can't improve our environment, but we can compensate. We already, our science, then why, I'm sorry. It is, of course, very bad that we have such global factors, which we will not be able to improve immediately. But what is good that we have already prepared our scientific. So meaning that it's very bad that this causes, they are not yet implicated in clinical practices. Doctors not consider that. But what is good that our biomedical science, it's already like published, already studied this and proposed that some approaches and compounds to compensate these factors. Also, in addition to these gases, which I already global pollutant, we still have so many factors in our environment. Everybody knows, for example, stress causing factors. Everybody knows, I think I no need to convince you so much that stress we have a lot of in our life. So we have a lot of stress and physical nature. We have so noisy environment, so much noise. And psychological, we are worried, we are just our job, so stressful factor. And how this it was studied, and this like primary, so meaning that here it's about cardiovascular. This article, it's about the role of these factors in cardiovascular. Yeah. But then before and still our medicine, how if people have some problem with heart, then and what usually primary events of this, it's a high blood pressure, atherosclerosis. Yeah. Then our medical system targets these symptoms, like primary symptoms. Yes, of course, it's improved a little bit like conditions, but never it stops. So it always people still, after the treatment, it's in some period of time, it will still have increased blood pressure and so on, so on. Yeah, but now it's recent scientific publication illustrate whole cascade and the primary like causes, how the mechanism, how they one by one cause cardiovascular diseases. And it's clear that it's originate everything this in blood lipids, so like aggregation of this our like lipids in our blood and high blood glucose, even insulin resistance. It start here. It's like pathway that because of our vessels, they are constricted. So stress inhibit. By the way, also, I already said you that this our pollution inhibit our production of our intrinsic own nitric oxide synthase, also stress and stress causing factors. There are so many. If we under stress, independently what the nature of stress, our vessels constricted. You can see here. And then, but what is good that it was so, and usually these drugs which medicine prescribe. Maybe later I have this slide that usually they also work by target this, like the dilation, so they recover the vessel size, but the mechanism how they recover a little bit different. Then it's proposed then natural compounds can do. For example, it's you can see here vitamin C. It was proposed that vitamin C can very quickly and efficiently like even not recover this size, so it prevents the constriction because the mechanism is such that vitamin C, you remember this methemoglobin, it's formed because of modern people, we have a lot of methemoglobin, so methemoglobin, it's a molecule when nitric oxide bound to our hemoglobin. So we have nitric oxide in this molecule, which in fact harmful for us because it's just block our hemoglobin. It is harmful. And vitamin C, it's very like it's a such way very it's like totally physiological recovering. So vitamin C can reduce methemoglobin. So because vitamin C, it's a reducing agent. It's physiological role of this vitamin, our vitamin in our body in general, reducing agent, antioxidant, reducing, meaning antioxidant is reduced, reduction. So it's reduced iron in hemoglobin, any hemoglobin, so it's reducing agent. So, and if iron in hemoglobin, in methemoglobin reduced, then complex broken. So nitric oxide released from harmful for us methemoglobin, which we have a lot in our body, even under stress when our production of nitric oxide blocked. So then vitamin C, it just compensate even two harmful for us factors. First, it's recover vessel size, and then it decreases the level of harmful mishemoglobin. So more hemoglobin will be able to carry our oxygen. So, but drugs which usually used, but maybe I have next slide. Yeah, here, what our medical system and how people try now, modern people try to recover from this systemic diseases to cure this. And of course, first of all, they go to the medical system and ask assistance. And yeah, and almost medical system also, of course, quite correctly just prescribe these all drugs which are anti-hypertensive, anti-atherosclerotic, like statins. They finally, by the cascade of events, they finally increase the level of nitric oxide, because no other way, any of anti-hypertensive drug, atherosclerotic, they will need also this molecule for the weather. But in contrast, here is one detail very important, which we still not in clinical practices not consider, that it's a very different thing. If as nitric oxide is very important, our molecule, then we have even several types of enzyme which produce. We have endothelial, of course, in our vessels, because it's very important to regulate the size of our vessels. But we have inducible. This molecule is such important, and if and we have neuronal, because it's very important for our brain, because of this is the neurotransmitter. So if this specific enzyme, endothelial and neuronal blocked for some reason, and this our stress and this our pollution, it block endothelium in vessels, the functioning. Yeah, but these drugs, they not recover the functioning of our endothelial cells. They switch on, they activate our emergency nitric oxide synthase, inducible, so-called inducible. And inducible, it's an emergency. Everything like emergency, you know, it produced a lot amount of nitric oxide. Yeah, and then it's even in worse situation with our mishemoglobin, it's produced a great amount. Then some some of course works for it works. It dilate our vessels, but some incorporated in hemoglobin, and again mishemoglobin increase. While vitamin C, it's just prevent constriction of our vessels. So it doesn't just activate any inducible, it's not regulate the nitric oxide synthase activity. It just recover from already stored in our body so it's much more like safe because now, and not only vitamin C, here you can see the picture, some other, for example, here it's Hypericum perforatus 0B. The compounds, it also was shown that it can activate endothelial, not inducible. So we have some natural compounds which we can recover. It's not yet implicated in clinical practices. This is, I would like to pay your attention. This is a source what we need to, so now we need to propose something very global, very quick, and not as expensive. And this is like, you see, it's not expensive, it's easy to implicate, because vitamin C, it's already a long time used for the therapeutic applications, then we no need some additional studies. And also, I would like to pay attention that because of this, of course, this treatment, this antihypertensive and so on, what medicine now, medical system prescribe, then it's not, people not fully recovered, they of course are looking for some other way how to recover from their chronic diseases, and they go to internet, and they find there that healthy food, it's very good for our health. We can find there vitamins, flavonoids, which are also antioxidant and like reducing agent, so on. Yeah, but that is then it's not as simple also. So people sometimes also this is a source for medical system to improve the situation, because if people, regular people without medical education, they themselves try to find some compounds or approaches how to improve their health, they even can harm. They can harm because, and this is really, you know, who can. It's no doubt that this whole grains, beans, like green these leafy vegetables, many like nuts, tea. It's very, it's really, it has so much benefits for our health. But the problem is that regular people don't know details, some very important details. For example, that details here that this food, this grains, seeds, and we use we eat a lot of seeds with our grains. So yeah, contains phytic acid, phytate, so-called. Probably many people know nowadays this, that they can and oxalate. So many people, like again, have, like, you know, this compound. They can this, and this is like fiber. Usually, this outer, this layer of these nuts or seeds contain this and fiber, and people think that fiber, and now this, like even medical system advertise that fiber is very useful for our health, and it is useful. It is useful. Even this compound, they are also useful, but people need to know that their side effects, that they can absorb our very important nutrients and micronutrients. For example, in this of phytic acid and oxalates, the most like significant effect, harmful effect for our health, they cause zinc deficiency. So that's why zinc deficiency nowadays, it's a very high in our world, and not only developing world, but in the, because many people who want to follow healthy diet, they can cause the deficiency of zinc. And zinc is very important for our immune system. You can see here how many publications. Again, it's also implicated in coronavirus. It was found that zinc deficiency, it was like impacting the bad like course of and people were dying from the coronavirus, because not all. So it was after coronavirus, it was analyzed what the factors it was, and it was found also this mesomelavine, carboxyhemoglobin, the hypoxia, of course, who developed anemia, also deficiency of other iron, and so on. But we can't talk about everything. But zinc is and zinc, as I already shown you, it's people think that follow healthy diet. And then if zinc deficiency, that we have another risk factor in addition to, I already mentioned you, these gases, this stress, and infections. We have infections which are implicated in almost all our chronic systemic diseases, which we have not yet even antibiotics, so meaning good drugs against them, because they are very specific, especially some of them, Porphyromonas gingivalis, it's here, implicated in all of diseases, it's very strong pathogen. We have nothing but, and I mentioned beginning of my presentation, and I mentioned latent viruses, latent chronic, these systemic herpes viruses, cytomegalovirus, Epstein-Barr virus, which are implicated. I already mentioned you that they just finally getting aging of our immune system. Aging immune system doesn't work. We are more susceptible for any of the infection, including such very severe and implicated in all our diseases. So, and zinc, it's known, and
yes,
here, probably that people die. If we have severe zinc deficiency, people immediately die from infections. It was known. It is well known. So then zinc, it's even to keep just normal status of zinc in the body, it can prevent this many of infections, including implications to prevent these chronic infectious diseases. But also now it's very, very clear, and many publications suggest that we need to review, like analyze, and to correlate the dose of vitamin C, zinc, vitamin B12, so several these vitamins, because we have now modern people, we have more factors which.
Dear Olga, we need to interfere your report. Dear Olga. Dear Olga, we need to interfere your report because of timeline, and there is one question in the chat I would like to ask you from Tatiana Soboleva. Olga, you are muted.
Ola, can you unmute?
Olga, you are muted. Please unmute. We cannot hear you.
Okay.
And yes, and we need to.
Where you hearing me before?
We need to remember about timeline. And maybe
we need to finish the meeting.
Yeah, we need to finish the conference because the time scheduled was 17:30.
Okay, but we're just talking. What I just finishing just couple of this last slide. So what we can do in this situation? So meaning that how to improve this, that people not harm there, so they just recover and to treat their like diseases, and really to improve situation with the systemic diseases, that this clinical nutrition, it should be implicated in just on different levels, in starting from the university. It should be this medical student, the doctors need to know, because sometimes about some details of these risk factors and what is proposed recently, even doctors don't follow this novel. So meaning that such courses about so many now propose that we by our food components we can really prevent and to compensate very significant modern factors.
Ola, sorry,
That's why
we
the
can
course
finish.
is about
Ola, we can finish. Ola, sorry, we can finish because actually you are talking, I don't know, about 40 minutes, yeah? Thank you. So, Masha, please finalize.
Yes. Dr. Olga, there is a question for you from Tatiana Soboleva, and she would like to ask you from what do you think from your perspective, where first of all should we seek the situation improvement, in environmental policies or in research and development of new drugs or medicine regulation? What will be more effective from your point of view to improve human health and public health?
Ola, can you unmute and answer the question? Okay, I see.
Olga, we cannot hear you.
Yes,
okay.
right now, yeah.
Yeah.
Please, Ola,
Moment.
briefly answer the question and we are finishing.
Okay, okay. Would you please, because I'm very sorry, but I was not, I wasn't waiting that I need just immediately to start this presentation. That's why even
Masha,
my
can you
sound
repeat
was,
the question? Ola, wait, can you repeat the question?
Can you repeat the question? Because I
Yes.
was trying to,
From-
like, my sound.
From your point of view, where, first of all, should we seek the situation improvement with the public health, with human health, in environmental policies, or in research and development, new drugs, or in medicine regulation? What?
As I already said you at beginning that we already this improving the medical services, we even can improve situation even before the environment will be improved, you know. So then if we will implicate, even not from research is done already. I hope that I was thinking that you got from my presentation that so many biomedical science proposed already. It was I based this all data which I provide on the scientific publications and recent. So even science already done, it must be implicated in clinical practices. So what is already known, and this doesn't take so much money, it doesn't take so much time, because it's already developed. It must be, and it proposed such compounds and approaches that not very expensive, like vitamin C.
Thank you
is not
very much.
expensive.
Okay,
Thank you very
okay,
much.
we got it. I just want to remember that tomorrow we will have the final discussion without limitation. Yeah. And just Masha,
Yeah,
please. Ola, wait, Masha,
I
close.
I'm
Ola,
almost
wait,
ready,
Ola,
but,
wait. Masha,
So
close. the-
maybe there are some other questions on the topic.
No.
So
Do we have
then,
any other presenters, Masha? Maybe
yeah,
ask.
do we have any other presenters, because previous do not appear, and I cannot see those who are scheduled, but I have to ask.
No.
No. Then we are somewhat out of time, but we managed to finish, and the general discussion will be tomorrow after the final session of the conference. Yes.
Okay, thank you,
Thank you
No,
very much. Have a
Really,
great
yeah,
evening.
yes, yeah. I hope you all had this. You know, it's emotional. Yeah, we had not so many speakers today, but you see, all of them are really motivated and motivated us. Yeah, thank you, all of you, and Masha, thank you for professional moderation. Yeah, we had some issue with time schedule, but it's okay. So, guys, I just want to remind you that tomorrow, by the way, I will turn off the records.